Okay, hello everybody. In this lesson we're going to go through the process of creating a set of controls for the IK arm. So I'm going to make this a little bit easier right now by hiding the geometry. I'm going to select that and turn the visibility off. And then I'm also going to turn off the IK joints here and just focus on the animation setup here. I do have the IK, I didn't name it in the last lesson, so let's name that. So this is going to be L underscore arm underscore IK underscore handle. Okay, so we have the IK handle now. And then, yeah, that looks good. I want to have some sort of control for that. And what I'm going to do is create some controls. I have a shelf up here, my AP rigging tools. I just have some default tools that come in Maya here in the first one. So I have freeze transformations, select object, and center the pivot. Then this is delete history on a selected object, delete history on all the objects in the scene. And then these over here are all custom tools that I built in the previous lesson here in the tutorials. I had the twist joint tool that we created. But they'll be very useful for us, so if you need access to it, I'll upload it into my courses for my students, and then also I will upload it to Patreon for anybody else that's interested. But as we go through some of these, I'll show you the code so that if you wanted to create it manually, you can create it manually as well. But the first thing that I want to do is take a look and create some sort of control. And let's do a double curved, and I'm just going to right click and edit so that we can look at the code here. Gonna open up the expression editor, and let's open up a new Python tab, paste it here, and let's look at what's going on so that you know. So basically I'm creating a curve and I'm setting a set of points. I'm creating deselecting that curve, then I'm creating another set of points. I'm creating a circle, moving it into place, and then setting the attributes for the circle. I'm just basically scaling it up. And I'm setting up the sweep so that it's only a 90% of full 360, so it's a bit curved. Duplicating that, setting the second curve here at 5 units, clearing the selection, selecting all of the objects, and I am attaching them to each other. Then I am selecting the objects here, and I am renaming the object, the final object, to arrow curve, moving it into place, freezing the transformations, then selecting the other objects and deleting it. The additional objects that were created in order to get that final shape. So if we look at when I actually run this code, so this is the curved double. Let's go here and look at it. It creates a control here that we can use that is rotatable. So it makes it easy that I know I can rotate this tool. And I basically have different sets of controls. So we can see that we have a double arrow with curves. We have a straight double arrow. Just a double arrow like this. Just a single arrow. And a box control. So each one of those are things that we can use. So I think maybe in this case, let's use a box control. And this is going to be named our L underscore IK arm underscore CTRL. Okay, so I have that there. And I want to make sure that it is placed over here and aligned with this joint. So what I can do is that I have an align tool here. Let's look at the options here. So basically it selects the object. We don't really need to print it. That was just me testing. Then I'm parenting the objects that were selected. Then I set the transforms to 0 on the first selected object. Then I unparent it and then I clear the selection. So let's see that in action. So I take this and then where I want to parent it to is, or align it to, it's not the IK handle but the joint. There we go. And then let's click the align tool and we can see that it takes the shape here and aligns it right with our control, and we have all of these values on here. Let's go ahead, and what I want to do is turn on the geometry really quick. So I'm going to turn the visibility on here, and I just want to make sure that it fits a little bit easier so that it's easier to select. So I'm going to push this and then push F8 on the keyboard. That gets us into component mode. We can select the components and align it the way we would like. So what I'm going to do is maybe do something like this. There we go. So I have a control here for the arm. And I can push F8 again, and that will clear the selection for that tool. Okay, let's turn the geometry's visibility off again. So I have this hand control that I can use. And what I can do is, let's group this right now. And this group is going to be our CTRLS. So these are, we're going to put all the controls inside of this folder so that we can easily access it. Great. So now we have that hand control there. And like I said, we do have all of these transforms here that are kind of not zeroed out, but we, on all our controls, we want to make sure that they're zeroed out. And typically we want a 0 and an offset group. So basically what we're going to need to do is create a group that is exactly positioned where this is. And I'll show you manually really quick how to do it. I create a group, it creates it in a null. Then I can do, with that null selected, the same thing we did with the control. And do a align with the align tool that we have. So now if we select that group, we can see that it is here. So I'm going to throw that into controls and offset it there. So now if I have the control selected, you'll see that it's all at zeros, and then the zero group has all the transform values there. You can repeat the process and create another nested group in here, and that will create a offset group, so that way you can create any offsets that you need. So let me undo that and delete this null node, and you'll see that the tool that I have here that's called zero group, if I select it, it does all of that automatically for me. So I have the zero group, and it names it for me, so that makes it a lot nicer for me. Zero group, the offset group, and then the control itself. We could take all that and put it into the controls. Let's look at that script and see how it works. Right click, edit, and we have, oops, not the line, but I want the zero offset edit here. So it's a little bit longer of a script, but it basically does what I was talking about. It takes the selection, then we create some variables so that we have the name for the zero offset group. We are grouping, we're creating two groups here, and we have this zero offset group, the offset group. They're just empty groups right now. We're just giving it names. Then we're parenting the group to the selected object, which is the control. And then we're zeroing out all the attributes, just like we did with the line tool. Then we are unparenting and clearing the selection. We're repeating the same process for the same group. Not the same group, but the second group. Then we're setting up the parenting structure at the end, which zeroes out the controls for it. So it's a simple little tool, but it saves us quite a bit of time so that we don't have to do that manually and have to name everything, because we know the name of the objects already anyways. Okay, so we have the offset groups here, and that's going to be the control for the arm right now. And let's end it here, and in the next lesson what we'll do is create the pull vector control.